Hey, good evening, folks. This is Tony Montana once again. Here's another video. This video, I'm going to show some of my books and recommendations relating to pit bulls or relating to dogs in general. One of the things I'm going to start with the old school books. You might recognize. I realize it took me a very long time in Spanish, so I'm going to cut it because just too much. I don't want to make it an hour video, half-hour video for books only. So I'm putting two books together here. Both books are good. They speak of dogs of the early 1900s or late 1800s. Reference many dogs, not pit bulls, but pit dogs. Give me a second. This dog is. Hey! No! A dog is trying to get at some meat I left over there, and I left the trap there so I could hear him when he does that. So he starts thinking I'm a god, that I'm, even when I'm not there, I see what he's doing. He came back to there. But anyway, this is good historical books. Now, why do people like me? Hey, where you going? No. Why do people like me have these books, or have people terrier books, or dog fighting books? Some people will say, because it might be considered dog fighting books because these are fighting dogs of that time. Well, I would say that because it is essential that we maintain the record. Look at him; he's trying to do it again. No. He's Yeah, it's important for us to keep record and keep the history of this breed. I don't want the history and the facts of the American People Terrier and the humans that own them, because it's a society, it's a culture, it's a subculture per se, but still a culture. And I don't want the same thing that happened to the Mayans and Aztecs to happen to the history of the American People Terriers. Like, the Aztec culture, everything, literature was destroyed by the conquistadors because they deemed the information of this culture worthless or not good. So, but we know now, 1,000 years later, that they did a wrong. They did. They did wrong by this culture destroying it, and it has not been the only one. Many cultures have destroyed other cultures just for the fact of they not approving of the culture they're destroying. And this happens here with the American People Terrier, the Pitbull history, the dog fighting history. Same thing happens. Let's not be those individuals that destroy. Let us conserve the information and let history, time, dictate what they think about the subculture of the early 1900s, the subculture of the year 2000, and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's keep going. So I usually show you these two. Very good. I enjoy them. I read them all the time. Back again, just for the heck of it. Now I'm going to show you this other one that you guys probably seen, Dogs of Velvet and Steel. Very good book. I recommend it. Okay, nice and thick, so you are getting a good reading for your money. And again, I'm doing this a little faster because I don't want it to be so long as the Spanish version of it. Here, this is another book. I have not read this. I just got it recently. Gary Hammond's Half a Century. Everybody should be making sure that they help the dogmen that came before us, so that we can expect the dogmen in the future to respect us as dog people, doggers, dogmen, fanciers. We have to support each other. Okay, so if you can buy it, if you don't ask me where to get it, Google it, man. Google it. Some of these books are not going to be I guess they're not in publication anymore. I bought them a while ago, or years ago, and like this one, I don't think this book is in publication anymore. And I don't. This is a book that Fat Bill published, basically a gathering of many issues of the American Game Talk Times. That was a magazine back in long time ago, and this is basically just gathering of information. Whoops. Let me now make sure that I don't, see some things like that. So it gives information, some dog stories, some many information from dogs that came many years ago, many decades ago. And this is another good read for anybody that wants to become experienced with the history of the American Pitbull Terrier. See, the Book of Game Dogs. Okay. Now, there's all the books that Fat Bill came out with. It's basically compilation of his American Game Dog Tag issues. This one in particular is this volume 5. Obviously, the other volumes. It really was for issues published by Fat Bill from 1997 to 99. We have this one, and this is volume 3. This is from 93 to 95. This one that I also found. I should have them all. This is number 4, 95 to 96, and so on and so forth. That the other ones I couldn't find. They're probably somewhere else, or in boxes. But they're all good to read. Now I also have this book, or kind of. I have this book. This book is Sporting Dog Journal Yearbook 1993. This is just basically a reference of what happened in that year. And why do I have this again? This is just to maintain the record, the history of the breed for future generations. Having this type of books, this type of magazines, do not improve my chances, or it doesn't help me in any way in any illegal activity. This is just a historian gathering and reading and remembering and memorizing this information for and having it available, accessible for the future generations of people interested in the breed. And in that same respect, this is the only reason why I have this book. This book is just basically a bloodlines compiled by Jack Kelly. Basically, you can read these. It's bloodlines that produced the great dogs of the last half century, or the 20th century. And here are alphabetized many dogs, and their pedigree according to a certain time, a certain person, so on and so forth. And the only reason I have this is for historical purposes. Okay. I also have this one. This one was I was very sad that I got this instead of the book. They charged me an arm and a leg for this crap, and I didn't get the book instead. But I haven't read it. So this is Fire on the Mountain, Rudy Lockdown Control, Rudy Lockdown. I believe from what other people told me, recently, not so recently. How could I say? Had an issue with Chico, Jokers, and basically Rudy used to be his friend. Chico didn't need him anymore, so he screwed him, from what I understand, or did him wrong somehow, and now they're not friends. That's what Chico does. That's what Chico, when he feels he doesn't need you anymore. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this is what they told me, that Rudy no longer is friends with Chico. He wised up. And I haven't read that book, so I can't really say it one way or another. I was just upset the quality of the book that I got was not what I expected. Now I am going to show you this one. I expected a lot from this book, and I really got not much from it. I was very disappointed. It's another pedigree book. but it really doesn't have any sense. It just has pedigrees, I just don't felt it was just something I could have gathered Feds Online, for example. I could have gathered that information on Feds Online and saved me the money of this book. So no, I don't recommend it. Now they got this book here. This is one of my favorites. The Hollingsworth Dogs. This is written by California Jack. I don't think California Jack has this published anymore. Look at this dog. It looks exactly like one of my dogs, like Captain. He looks just like Captain. He's over there. But it has a lot of good information. I've been told that some of the information is incorrect, but again, it's all well written, great pictures, well organized. California Jack could have done things better with other people. I am, with the Patricks, but I wasn't there. I don't know the whole story. I personally wouldn't do wrong, even if they did me wrong. If the person is a pillar of the breed. But again, I understand what the Patricks told me. I really don't know California Jack's side. I do recognize that Jack is an intelligent person. He had a good sense about the dogs. His vice grip dogs, a lot of them, I heard good things about them. They were small dogs in comparison to the large Hollingsworth dogs. But, it's some information, he's great, But like I said, it's just too bad that we can't be amicable or professional about it. We don't have to like each other, but we can respect what we both are doing. If you see it as, it's a good dog, a good breed. I mean, good book. But let me continue on, or otherwise this thing will be half hour, and I don't want that to be a half hour. Now, let me show you two books at the same time to make it quicker. I'm going to show you the books written by Schoolboy. Great guy. I don't know him, but what I've heard, he's a very friendly person. He has two books. The first book is Family Bred and Raised, and he speaks of his dogs here. And in both books, he speaks of his dogs. And this one, he actually goes more into interesting stuff. All historical. This is all for the what's that? So like I said, all historical. This is all for people that want to preserve the history, to learn from the history, understand why the dogs are who they are now. These are some more books that will help you do that. And especially if you're a fan of some of his dogs. Let me open the last one. Whoa. Let me it's some books, it's a good read for people that like to read to get information. But anyway, let's keep moving. All right, some information. I'm going to show you 3 books together that don't deal with the American Pitbull Terriers, but are very important. The first one is just, you got to have something like this. I have all the books, like the vet books and all that, but this is a little small book. It's emergent care for the outdoor dog, and it goes into very good detail. For the size of the book is excellent. I really recommend this for people that just they go hunting and they want something as a reference. This is it. Now this is an old book I had. This is basically when I was trying to make sure I was doing right by my raw dog food. This is one of the books I actually read. This is one of the other books. I should have other books about dog language, canine language. They're basically showing different postures, different mannerisms, different. It's very good. You know, for the size of it, this is a very good book. Now I'm going to show you this book first. This book was given to me by a person that I considered an animal lover, but has particular thoughts on the history of the Pitbull Terrier. And this basically, for many people, will be considered this would be a tree hugger book. I have not finished reading. I really just, there you go. That's where I am, So, but I believe in learning from all angles. Everybody has. If a person has a strong understanding of animals, is an intelligent person, and still believes a certain thing, well, I'll take a look at what they're believing. I'll take a look at what they're reading and assimilate it. Perhaps, I am wrong somehow in some things. Reading this type of book, it will only make me better owner, better at understanding the dog, the pitbull, etc. So, and I am not blind to other people's belief systems. So this is a book I'm intent to read and make sure that I understand it completely. Now, this is another book I have, The Valley Heritage by Zinetti. So basically, this talks about the Valley dogs and what good dogs have been produced from there. Let me make sure I don't see nice color pictures. The guy, it's showing quality work in this book. Speaking of people that have had his dogs, not just him and his dogs, many other people had success with his dogs, and that's a conversation of that. Now, I also want to show this book. I haven't completely read them, or like most of them I haven't finished reading them. I do read them, then I stop. It's written very interestingly and very cheap. I think it cost me less than $20. It's a very good book for $20, and maybe you want to read it. It's coming from a guy, I think he's still in jail when he's writing it. Maybe that's the reason why it's so cheap. But if he's not in jail, I hope he's doing well, and I hope he has a pit bull that he loves and takes care of. That's another book. And he speaks of, blah, blah, blah. You might think of it like, oh, no, but, I think he admits to be a dog fighter in this, and he speaks of it. I have not finished it. Let me see where I am. I can't tell where I am from just this. I guess the paper that it's going, so I don't know where I am. So it's another book that I recommend just to read it. Now, my last two books, bear with me. This is another book that I have that I haven't finished reading, but it's a lot of information. I like to read it and memorize the information. So sometimes I have to go back to what I read until I memorize it, and then I don't have to read the book anymore. Sometimes that's why it takes me longer to read books, or because I go back and read it, kind of like memorize the entire book. This is a very controversial book in many things that it speaks of how Mitch Kemmer, not Mitch, his father was, how he, for example, did game test his dogs, to what degree he went to, about chopping a leg and putting it back in the pit and letting it go for another half hour, then bringing it out, chopping another one. And that was, made me say, wow. I'm not going to criticize anybody, just, but I was just like, wow. Mr. Kermer, many people know him, and, the book also talks about Floyd Boudreaux, or how you pronounce your last name. So some people disagree with what the book says about Floyd, but this is something that if you're into dogs, if you're in a community, help other people in the community. If they wrote a book, buy it. The only person, I don't expect he's going to ever finish a book, but only person I would not buy a book from, it would be Chico Lopez, because the book was going to be about him being great and how he became great. That's going to be the whole book. Self-serving, self-tapping, like, oh, this, I am so great, this and that, and probably 2 pages about the dogs and the rest of it about him being great. So that's one person I would never buy a book from. Now, one last book that I will recommend. I haven't read it at all, but I just skimmed through it. It's a brand new book. Is this one, The Complete Guide to Conditioning, the Dogman's Handbook. It's nice, thick. It's by Zinetti again, nice and thick. It really breaks down a lot of information, a lot of different types of conditioning. It talks about how, the only thing I think I maybe I'm wrong, maybe he does have it there, is have the keeps, because there's many keeps, many types of workouts for flurry, pull, for many different things. It goes into detail about the body, about the supplements, everything. It's such a detailed book. But like I said, the only thing that it's too bad is that the keeps that they present here are not grouped by types of dogs, meaning not every keep is going to be for every dog. So some dogs do well with one type of keep, but not great with other types of keep. So I would have liked this book to have that grouping, saying, okay, this, and that type of keep are for dogs that are this way or that way for those dogs. That is the only thing that I would say that, but I would still recommend it. Again, where do I get them? Google it, and you'll get the information. If they're available, these are available for sure. This isn't available for sure. Many of the books I've shown are available for sure. Google them and find out. Okay? This is Tony Montana signing off.